Hey guys, it's Katie and today I'm going to be discussing with you my top favourite characters. Bartimaeus from the Bartimaeus sequence is a demon, but more technically known as a jinni. Bartimaeus was summoned by the apprentice magician Nathaniel, and Bartimaeus likes to think of himself as one of the more powerful jinnis that are out there in the world, and with this title he gives himself, it brings on a kind of arrogance that also leads to a sarcasm. Now this sarcasm and wittiness throughout his dialogue is right up my alley, as that is just my humour all over pretty much. The Bartimaeus sequence is mainly split into different sections. Each chapter is dedicated to either Nathaniel or Bartimaeus. Nathaniel's chapters are written in the third person, whereas Bartimaeus's are written in the first person, giving it a more personal touch. And with these personal touches, he also adds little footnotes into it. Now these footnotes sometimes describe what's actually going on with a little bit more detail that isn't actually needed to bulk out the book, but is just needed as more of a bracket kind of situation. But sometimes these little footnotes are used to add an extra layer of humour. Now this one in particular is one that I absolutely loved. No magical alarm sounded, though I did hit my head 5 times on a pebble. Once each on 5 different pebbles. Not the same pebble 5 times, just checking. Sometimes human beings are so dense. Bartimaeus, in contrast to Nathaniel, who wants to be taken more seriously and is more serious in himself as well, is absolutely hilarious to read about. So them two collide, but also they mesh well together. It goes along the lines of opposites attract. Will Herondale from the Infernal Devices. Now I'm not actually going to explain what kind of character Will is in terms of facts, because I'm pretty sure the majority of you have already read it, so I'm not going to go into it like that, but I absolutely love, and maybe this is a common theme with my favourite characters, the fact that he is so witty and sarcastic. He always has a comeback for everything. It's as if he always wants to have the last word in a conversation and he always has to make the last statement. But what I like about Will in comparison to Bartimaeus is the fact that he also has a more deeper side. Like, he uses his sarcasm and wit to actually cover up the fact that he's actually quite troubled, and that is something that I find really interesting. It's a defense mechanism as such, and it's always nice to figure out why they're actually doing it in the first place and if they're liable to change. He isn't just a one-dimensional character, he's got lots of different layers to actually figure out and unveil, and that's what I absolutely love about him, is the fact that he isn't just one thing. Will is a little bit of everything really. He's a little bit of arrogance and a little bit of insecure, and it's just really refreshing to read about, really. You've got to bear with me a little bit on this one, because I'm not going to be very eloquent in the way that I describe why I like this character, because it's a little bit confusing. Now, I've heard a lot of negative feedback on Holden Caulfield, as a lot of people don't really like his character for some reason. I've heard the odd comment floating about that they don't like his arrogance, and I honestly couldn't see any arrogant side to him. I just saw a naive, misunderstood little boy who's trying to act older than he actually is. He is trying to come off as something that he's not, and I find that particularly endearing. It sort of goes along the lines of when you're a child and you threaten to move away from home, but kind of taking it to the next level, in the way that you're so full of yourself that you think that you can actually make it, and you're so naive in the way that you think you can last off of your savings of about $100 when it's actually not going to work. But that kind of thing I found to be really funny. He was basically a character that was trying to be something that he wasn't, and expected everyone to see him as that other person that he wanted to be, when in reality that was not going to happen. I think Holden's character is a reflection on everybody, in the way that everyone goes through that naive stage. Everyone goes through that feeling of thinking that people aren't treating you the way that you want to be treated. They're treating you like a child when you feel as though you should be treated like an adult. But a lot of the time, the adults are more right in treating you like a child, because you are a child at that age and you don't have the state of mind the majority of the time to actually make those kind of decisions for yourself. And I think for a lot of younger readers it would be really refreshing for them to read something like this, and to read Holden's character, to actually get a better view on life and the realities of life. And there we have it. Those are some of my favourite characters. The light has probably diminished halfway through this video because of the fact that it's got dusky now and my light is more blaring on me. But who actually cares? Because I know I don't. I actually do. Anyways, I will speak to you guys sometime soon. See you later. Bye!